Welcome back to the Relativity Series, produced by LA Theater Works. Lead funding for the Relativity Series is provided by the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, bridging science and the arts in the modern world. Here's part 2 of Photograph 51 by Anna Ziegler.
Dr. Franklin, I graduated today. As of this morning, I was still a student, and a mere few hours later, I'm not. I feel like one of my own X-ray exposures, one that took ages to set up and wasn't at all promising, but managed to yield something. A little something. Really, I can't believe it. Neither could my parents. They kept saying, "Don, we thought you'd never finish." But they were happy, and I was happy, am happy, and I just felt like telling you that I owe all of this to you. And I was wondering, do you think, is there any chance I could come work with you, for you, at King's? It would be a great honor. Maybe there's a fellowship I could look into.
Dear Dr. Casper, my most heartfelt congratulations. I'm sure you realize how important semantics are. This title that's now been conferred on you, it means windows have been flung wide, letting in the cold night air, that street lamps will blink on you as you walk past them. In 1945, when I got my doctorate, I thought those letters you've now acquired would have the same value for me. But, of course, you and I well know this is not the case. I'm not complaining about it. One can't focus on such things. And I don't.
You are so remarkable, Dr. Franklin. I really hope you don't mind my saying you are so remarkable. I don't know how you exist in the environment in which you find yourself.
I just do my work, Dr. Casper. I've realized the best thing is just to do one's work and not worry so much about anything else. It doesn't matter anyway.
But it does matter. It did matter. You can't be in the race and ignore it at the same time. That's where she went wrong.
You told her she was remarkable.
I did.
And what is a race anyway? And who wins? If life is the ultimate race to the finish line, then really we don't want to win it. Shouldn't want to win it, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. Sometimes you didn't make sense, Francis, and I had to pretend to understand what you were saying. I usually attributed it to a British thing. Some guilty remnant of an imperialist past back to haunt you.
Or maybe the race is for something else entirely. Maybe none of us really knew what we were searching for, what we wanted. Maybe success is as illusory and elusive as, well, Rosalind was to us. Maybe it exists only in our conception of it, and then always just out of reach, like Tantalus with his hovering grapes.
See? Gobbledygook. It's amazing we got on so well for so long.
It is amazing.
In February 1953, we got our hands on a report Pauling had written about nucleic acid structure. It was wrong. He was wrong about the phosphates. But the simple fact of his writing it meant he was working on it in earnest, which meant he would get it.
We all knew it was just a matter of time, and not much time at that. So Watson went to London. He didn't tell me why, but I had a feeling.
Good morning. Good morning, lovely Rosalind.
What are you doing here?
It's nice to see you, too.
You could knock.
Do you know what I have with me?
How would I know?
Pauling's manuscript.
All right.
All right?
Look, I really was just about to go...
Pauling is going to be publicly humiliated in 2 weeks when this gets published, and you don't even want to see it?
Why would I want to see it?
To gloat, for one. You should see Bragg. He's walking on water these days. Linus isn't going to beat me this time. See, Pauling made some of the same mistakes Krick and I made. He's proposing a triple-stranded helix with the phosphates on the inside.
That's what this rush to publish does. It means our publications are littered with ridiculous mistakes.
Do you think the B form is a helix?
I'm happy to arrange a time to sit down with you and discuss my findings, but just now is not possible, unfortunately.
Morris says you're anti-helical.
Morris has no business saying who or what I am.
So, you think the B form is helical?
I think it might be.
Are you sure you're interpreting your data correctly?
Excuse me?
How much theory do you have?
Why are you here, Jim?
To share.
Is that so?
I don't know. I thought you'd be interested in the manuscript. I thought we could talk.
But you've never shown any interest in doing that before, which leads me to believe that you're here to insult me. That, or you're not aware of the fact that you're insulting me, which is perhaps worse. Do you think that if you demoralize me, I won't get it done?
Get what done?
The work, Jim.
I think you'll get it done. Or I think you might get it done. But to do that, you have to compensate for the things you're lacking. And maybe I could do that.
Do what?
Help you.
Really? If you wouldn't mind leaving.
What I mean is, if you had theory, you might understand how these anti-helical features are really distortions. That what you're seeing is, in fact, a helix. Because I really think it is one, Rosalind. I have this feeling that's divorced from reason that I can't explain. It's deeper than... I mean, if I've known anything for sure in my life, this is it.
You must sleep so easily with that kind of certainty.
No, I don't sleep. There's too much to think about. You know there is. It overwhelms you. I can see that. So share your research with me. I mean, you're not going to get it on your own.
Get out!
Be reasonable, Ross.
Get out of my lab!
There's no need to get so upset.
I'm not upset. I'm not upset. What I am is none of your concern. Just go.
Why won't you even consider
Out!
Okay.
And stay out!
Down the hall, Watkins was with Wilkins, or Wilkins was with Watson. If it wasn't in poor taste, they'd have been holding hands.
She really is a right old hag, isn't she? I mean, the way she lunged at me, I really thought I might get hit.
A complete disaster. Did it to me once. All I was doing was trying to be congenial.
Me too.
She takes everything so seriously.
One needs to be more lighthearted sometimes. I mean, every now and then, at least.
I know.
I mean, I can't believe this is what you've had to put up with. It's really more than anyone should be asked to do.
It really is.
It is.
And it's all such a shame.
What is?
That we're not actually partners. I suppose I ruined that before it even began.
How could you have ruined it?
I was unfriendly, I suppose.
Come on, you are one of the friendliest men I know.
I know. I mean, I am pretty friendly. I've never offended anyone else.
She must be crazy.
Maybe she is. Or maybe...
What?
I don't know.
Well, you're better off without her. I mean, why collaborate with someone with whom it's impossible to get along?
The work, for one. I mean, you should see some of her... This photograph she took of B, for instance.
What photograph?
This one. Here. Have a look.
I need to...
What?
Go. I need to go.
Just like that? James! You can't leave just like that. James!
In his book, The Double Helix, Watson later wrote, "The instant I saw the picture, my mouth fell open and my pulse began to race." It was photograph 51.
On the train back to Cambridge, he sketched the image in the margin of a newspaper. He stared at it. He stared at it some more. When the train pulled in, he ran like a wild man down the rainy streets. And then he arrived.
What is it?
The Nobel.
What?
The answer.
What's the answer?
It's a double helix. I saw it.
Where?
At King's, and we have to build a model right now. We have to start right now. We've got it, Francis. It's ours. They are sitting on it, and they don't know it. It's ours. This is how we're going to get to replication.
But I don't quite understand.
There's no time to understand. We just have to start.
Well, let me at least finish this cup of tea. It's really quite lovely. Jasmine mixed with a...
Francis!
All right.
But that's not how it happened. I didn't just give him the photograph. He asked for it.
No, I don't think so. You offered it up like a leg of lamb we'd share for dinner.
I didn't.
And that same week,
Don Casper arrived.
shortly after getting his doctorate, Dr. Casper was awarded a fellowship with us at King's. Apparently, one of the scientists here had gone to bat for him, so to speak. I can't imagine who it was.
And this is Miss Franklin.
You're Dr. Franklin?
That's me.
Well, hello. It's funny. I imagined you differently.
How did you imagine me?
He couldn't say that he'd imagined her dowdier, a woman whose exterior mirrored her seriousness.
Oh, just fairer, maybe. Blonde.
You thought I was blonde.
I don't know. Yes.
You knew I was Jewish, though.
Yes. So am I.
That will make 2 of us at King's.
I have left New Haven, haven't I?
Yes, I suppose you have. And how was your journey?
His journey was fine. So shall we?
It was fine. A little tiring.
Yes, it must have been.
It's strange to meet someone with whom one has...
We should get to work then, shouldn't we?
Yes. I think work is the reason why we're all here, isn't it? Isn't it, Miss Franklin?
It certainly is, Dr. Wilkins.
4 days later, Krick invited Wilkins for Sunday lunch in Cambridge. He found, when he arrived, that...
I hope you don't mind that I invited Watson, too.
Hello, Morris.
No, of course not.
Here, sit down. What can I get you to drink? Odile is making a roast, but it won't be ready for an hour or so.
Anything's fine. Whiskey?
Whiskey it is.
So, how's it been lately with you-know-who?
Don't ask.
She's working hard.
Same as always.
People never change, do they?
No. And I wonder sometimes if perhaps I shouldn't move. You know, to the countryside. I can't really... That is to say, I haven't met anyone in London. Have you met anyone out here? I mean, women. Do you meet women?
1 whiskey.
Good. Thank you.
Well, I have met a few women here, sure.
Met being the operative word. They take one look at him and then... how would one describe it? I guess then there's a brief period of whispering, after which time they end up leaving the pub because one turns out to have left her hat at home, or some such nonsense. No, it's more likely James would solve the secret of life than bed a woman.
Now, why'd you say that? It's just none of the women here happen to appreciate my sophisticated charms.
Francis, do you remember Margaret Ramsay?
You think I could forget Margaret Ramsay?
Margaret was...
One of the very few women in science at Cambridge, and he was absolutely smitten by her. And then, one night, they were sitting at opposite ends of his room, talking about the typical things one talked about, I suppose, and out of nowhere, he tells her he's in love with her. The poor sod doesn't take her out, get a few drinks in her, and kiss her. No, he tells her he's fallen for her, and then continues to sit there, waiting for some verbal reciprocation of his love.
And what happened?
After a very long silence, she stood, said goodbye, and left.
See, women expect men to fall upon them like unrestrained beasts. Despite their murmurings to the contrary, they want to feel that you can't keep your hands off them. Morris has never understood that.
I guess what I'm wondering is, how do you and Odile, how does it work so well?
Well, it works because she doesn't know that he ogles every other woman who crosses his path.
I don't. I mean, give me some credit. Sometimes I do much more than ogle.
But you love her.
What is this, Prime Minister's question time?
Of course I love her. I mean, honestly, I don't know what I'd do without her. You think it'd be satisfying to spend all of one's time with Jim here? I assure you it wouldn't. He doesn't exactly fulfill my every need.
I certainly hope not.
What is it, Wilkins? Is something wrong?
Oh, I don't know. It's just that I'm starting to think there might come a point in life after which one can't really begin again.
That's right. It's called birth. After that point, what's done is done, which leads us nicely to a discussion of genes.
Ah, yes. Let's discuss how the work is going, shall we?
Yes, the work. The work. That is the important thing, isn't it?
Do tell us what our little ray of sunshine is keeping busy with these days.
Anything new on her docket? If you don't mind sharing, that is.
I honestly couldn't give 2 damns. I'm happy to tell you all I can remember.
Well, good. That's great.
So let's see. She's writing a paper at the minute. She might never finish it. The woman writes so slowly to begin with, and lately she's been a bit distracted. Infuriating, really.
What's it on, then?
Her recent photographs, I'm sure. As you saw, they were the best yet.
Yes, they were good. Very good.
And is she building a model?
Starting to.
Is she? I didn't know that. James, did you know that?
I didn't know that, Francis.
She has so much information now, she can no longer avoid it.
What kind of model is it?
It's of B. A is no longer viable on its own, of course. So essentially A and B have become hers. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but it happened. And yes, a model may come out of it someday.
Well, good.
Yes, good.
Yeah, that's terrific for her. We wish her well.
Yes.
You do?
Of course.
But how would you feel, Morris, if...
What?
I mean, what I mean to say is...
He wonders if you'd be opposed to our trying. One more time to get at the thing.
You want to build another model?
Would that be all right with you?
We wanted to ask you first, since it really is your thing.
They neglected to mention that they'd already begun.
You really should get to it yourself, old boy. You can do one too.
Oh, well.
It's a super idea. You do one too.
I can't do one. Not with Rosie around. It's her territory, her materials.
So that's grand. You'll do it if Rosie ever leaves.
Yes, grand. She's bound to go sometime after all.
And we'll get started on ours, so long as you give us the go-ahead.
I can't tell you what to do. I
Yes?
didn't know you were interested, is all. In doing it yourselves, not again. Not after what happened last time around. I mean, weren't you sufficiently embarrassed?
Morris, if I hid out after every embarrassment, I'd probably never be able to leave my room.
And his room is an embarrassment. Utterly filthy. Why do you think he's here all the time?
Odil's roasts aren't bad.
You take that back. They're superb.
Almost as tender as her thighs.
Okay, that's enough.
Look, if I'd known you were going to do another, I wouldn't have
What, Morris?
said so much, I suppose. Or shown you.
And then things move quickly. Quickly, especially by the standards of a PhD student for whom everything moves slowly.
Watson and Krick got hold of the paper Rosalind had written. It was confidential.
It wasn't confidential. Another scientist at Cambridge gave it to us after it was circulated to a committee over which he was presiding.
Well, it wasn't published, that's for sure. And it included her latest calculations. Confirmation that the B form was helical, and the diameter of that helix. Information that became critical to your work.
I'm sure we would have gotten there sooner or later, even without it.
So would we have done with the benefit of your work. You had ours, but we didn't have yours.
There was no we where you were concerned. That was the problem.
Anyway, it doesn't matter how they got the paper, only that they got it.
And that Rosalind didn't know she should be in a hurry. Neither of us knew.
Would you excuse me, Dr. Casper? I'm so sorry. My hand slipped.
It's fine.
I was just...
It's fine, Rosalind.
What's happened? You got your degree and somehow I lost mine?
I'm sorry, Dr. Franklin. It's just...
What?
I like your name. Rosalind. Rosie.
Why?
It's warm. It makes me think about coming inside to a fire after a walk in the bitter cold.
Only an American could come up with such a line.
But I'm not warm. No one thinks I'm warm. Ask anyone.
Listen,
Yes?
would you have dinner with me?
Dinner?
No, not like... just dinner. Something really casual.
I don't think you understand that nothing in England is casual. No, everything here is filled with meaning no one will name or indulge. It's why I much preferred Paris.
But I would think it must have been very hard to be in Paris.
Why's that?
I don't know. After the war, it must not have been too friendly to...
Oh, yes, but you just have to get by, don't you? That's all one can do. You can't constantly be thinking about that, or I imagine it would destroy you.
It would. I'm certain it would. Have dinner with me.
I'm afraid there just isn't time, Dr. Casper.
For dinner?
Yes.
In the meantime, Watson and Krick were working at breakneck speed.
After looking at Rosalind's report, they made a conclusion she had yet to draw. That DNA consisted of two chains running in opposite directions, like escalators in a tube station.
Which is how it replicates, Watson. That's how it works.
Each strand is a template, and in each template is another helix, and on forever.
Do you know what this means?
Yes! No.
It means large homes in the countryside without leaky radiators. It means suits tailored to fit. It means my mother will stop politely asking why I didn't go into law or medicine, and whether I have any regrets about the way my life has turned out.
It means textbook publishers will call to make sure they have the correct spelling of our names.
Yes, and you can choose any woman as your wife, and my wife will look at me differently.
It means there will always be the means to keep doing this forever.
We're almost there, Watson. We're so close.
Mid-February, Watson and Krick were all of a sudden being very friendly. They invited everyone to Cambridge. Well, everyone except me. And then acted strangely cheerful.
Rosalind, so good to see you. Come in, come in. Here, let me take your coat.
You are looking particularly lovely today, particularly vibrant.
Hello, Jim. Francis? Morris?
And you must be Dr. Casper.
Please, call me Dawn.
Now, what was so important that we come all the way here?
Just the pleasure of your company, Miss Franklin, on a lovely winter's day. Nothing more.
Why not wait out the winter doldrums together, by a warm fire maybe, sipping the finest Cambridge has to offer?
You'd be silly to waste a day like this indoors. And I certainly won't, not after being cooped up on the train all morning. Will you come with me to the garden, Don?
Of course, Rosalind.
She's different.
Not to me, still the same old...
Come now, let's be kind.
I've always been kind to her. I've been nothing but kind.
Oh.
What was that?
Oh.
What?
Don't you see?
See what?
Sometimes you can be so blind, Jim.
I can be blind? That's a funny notion.
He's in love with her.
In love with who? No!
Undeniably.
That is quite a theory, Francis, but do you have any proof?
That's not the way we work now, is it?
Francis, Dr. Don, just had the most fascinating idea.
Yes? About what exactly? About helices, or...?
He was proposing that isomorphous replacement could be used with a tobacco mosaic virus.
It's not so novel.
No, it's a first-class idea.
So, you'd put atoms of...
Lead, or maybe mercury, something heavy.
Into the virus protein to see what the difference would be between the X-ray patterns. The X-ray with the atoms and the one without. That would determine the structure. It's very clever.
Soon enough we'll be making a model. Right, Rosie?
She doesn't like being called Rosie.
I don't mind it.
And she doesn't like making models.
But are you thinking of making one?
And how much longer will you be in London, Casper?
Not very much longer, I'm afraid. This fellowship is just a couple more months.
Shame.
It is.
Yes. Shame.
Quite a shame. Yes.
Wilkins, you old rogue.
What?
Francis, I do believe you're right.
Right about what?
Let's move into the sitting room, shall we? Jim, you go and help Odile bring out our new tea set, and then we'll sit and have a nice cup of tea.
Why should I help her? She's your wife.
Just go.
But don't be fooled. She was not distracted by me. Rosalind? No. She continued to work slowly and methodically, and in increasing isolation.
Can I get you anything at least? A cup of tea?
Can't you see I'm working, Gosling?
I know, I just thought... Oh, never mind.
Watson and Krick struggled with how the four bases fit into the picture. Did they pair up, work together, or were they distinct from each other?
You can't be tired. Are you really tired?
No, I'm wide awake. I'm just feigning fatigue to keep you on your toes.
Are you kidding? I can't tell if you're kidding.
I can't tell either.
February 23rd.
Gosling? Can you come here, Gosling?
What is it?
Oh, what are you doing over there, playing solitaire?
No, I was just...
What do you think this is, nursery school? I mean, we have work to do.
But you haven't been wanting my help.
Please, just stand here, will you? No, that's too close. Still a little further. I need you to be standing further away so I can think. Yes. Both the A and B form are helical. They have to be.
2 steps away from the solution. 2 steps away. She just didn't know it.
It's late. Why don't you go home?
I'm fine.
Fine. You're staring at the photograph. I can tell you're doing nothing more than staring. Go home.
No.
Or let me look at it. Is it the bases? Are you thinking about the bases?
I think I'm thinking about how I've come to the end of thinking. How there's nothing left.
You're exhausted.
Not exhausted. Blank.
This rarely happens to you.
It never happens.
Never. You think if you were to give an inch, we'd all take a mile, is that it?
It's true, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Then you too have come to the end of thought. You should go home, Morris.
I could...
What?
We could talk it through. It might help.
For a moment, everything stopped. Different ways our lives could go hovered in the air around us.
You know, I think I am going to call it a night. I haven't been home before midnight for a fortnight. And really, what's the point of being here and not getting anywhere?
And then there was only one way everything would go.
Good night, Morris.
Good night.
February 28th, 1953. A barmaid made her way through the Cambridge snow to open the Eagle pub for the day. Watson and Krick were holed up like birds in a cage that was about to become the world.
They must pair off. The hydrogen bonds form between the pairs.
Adenine always goes with thymine. Cytosine with...
Whenever there's one on the DNA chain, there's always the other.
Yes.
Like a team. A successful team.
And in the meantime, Rosalind wondered if she was on a date. She couldn't be sure. She'd never been on one before.
I'm glad you didn't change your mind. You know, I've really thought you were going to change your mind. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
My time?
Right.
To be honest, I'm not sure anymore how terribly valuable my time is, Dr. Casper. Or maybe I haven't been allotting it to the right things. I don't know.
You don't know?
Well,
You're serious.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
Haven't you heard the story about the woman physicist who had to sneak into Princeton's lab in the middle of the night to use the cyclotron? And you probably know women aren't even permitted into Harvard's physics building.
Yes, I know that.
And yet here you are doing this amazing, groundbreaking work. And still you aren't sure you're allotting your time correctly? I can't think of a better allotment of anyone's time.
I don't know.
Well, I do.
Should we get some tea then?
Rosalind, I have a confession. You might not like it.
What?
I hate tea. I hate it. I mean, I really hate it. I can't even pretend to like it.
Oh, well, that is pretty bad. I think I'm rethinking everything I ever thought about you.
What did you think about me?
I thought you seemed balanced.
If by balance you mean always about to take a horrible misstep and have it all come crashing down around me, then maybe.
No. See, I've never had a balance.
No?
No.
But you've been happy.
Of course. Of course. Otherwise, why would I have
Why would you have what?
continued on, I guess, in this way?
Right. You wouldn't have.
Right.
You know, I have this theory. I think the things we want but can't have are probably the things that define us. And I've spent more time than I'd like to admit coming to this pretty simple conclusion, so I hope you don't think it's completely ridiculous, but I guess I'm talking about, I don't know, yearning?
Yearning?
I mean, what do you want, Rosalind?
So many things. To wake up without feeling the weight of the day pressing down. To fall asleep more easily, without wondering what it is that's keeping me awake. To eat more beetroot and also turnips. To be kissed. To feel important. To learn how to be okay being with other people. And also how to be alone. To be a child again, held up and admired, the world full of endless future. To be kissed. To feel every day what it would be to stand at the summit of a mountain in Wales or Switzerland or America, looking out over the world on a late afternoon with this man sitting across from me. Or to feel it once.
But instead, she said,
I don't know.
It's 2 strands. The bases go in the middle, and the phosphates on the outside. It has to be.
And we match the larger base with the smaller one. Huh! Krick!
Wait, don't say anything. Check it against the photograph.
Do you mind if I... That is to say, can I hold your hand?
I suppose that might be all right.
There's no science that can explain it. Loneliness.
Rosalind?
They match, Francis. It works! I can't believe it!
It's life unfolding right in front of us.
Rosalind!
It's the loneliest pursuit in the world, science. Because there either are answers, or there aren't. There either is a landscape that stretches before you, or there isn't. And when there isn't, when you're left in the darkness of an empty city at night, you have only yourself.
I'll get you help. I'll bring you somewhere.
A doctor.
Yes.
Thank you, Don.
Please don't thank me.
Don't worry, I won't do it again. It wasn't easy for me.
When they said they had something to show me, I had a feeling. All the way there on the train, the world seemed to move very quickly, as though passing me by.
And when he arrived in Cambridge, there it was. The model.
Well, say something, Wilkins.
I have 2 tumours. Twin tumours. Twins scampering around my body on tricycles, dropping handfuls of dirt as they go. For a moment I think of naming one Watson and the other Krick. But no, I tell myself. Rosalind, dispel the thought. No. I have ovarian cancer. A tumour in each ovary, one the size of a tennis ball and the other a croquet ball. And they are indeed an efficient pair.
You're really just going to stand there, gaping, after all this?
Let's have something at least. Come on, give us something.
I think you're a couple of old rogues. But you may well have something. I think it's a very exciting notion. And who the hell got it isn't what matters.
An exciting notion? It is the secret of life, Wilkins.
But is it? Is it really, Jim?
Rosalind, listen to me.
Why? I'm not sure there is much else one could choose to see on those X-rays.
I'm going to find another hospital.
Just go home, Don. I'm fine here.
How could you possibly think I'd leave you here all alone?
But why would you stay?
Dear Miss Franklin. No. Rosalind. No. Dear Dr. Franklin. I was so sorry to hear about your illness. I'm sure you'll come out on the other side of it, however, and be back at King's in no time. Really, you haven't missed much. Things have been exceptionally dull around here. The equipment is getting dusty from disuse. It's been raining non-stop, of course. Watson and Krick discovered the secret of life. My teeth hurt in the mornings, just after I wake up. Dr. Randall sends his regards. We all miss you. No. We trust you'll soon be well. Yours, Maurice Wilkins.
Can you believe it, Krick? I mean, the cover story in Nature. Can you really believe it?
I can't.
Why do you seem so tired? I can't sit still. I'm energized. I want to take on everything now. The world, everything. Women, you know.
And you will.
Krick?
You will. I'm just tired, I think.
But wasn't it worth it? I mean, now we will never be forgotten.
Never.
That's right.
Never forgotten.
Francis.
My wife has taken the guest room as her own. She moved her things into it slowly, gradually, over the last few months. She was clever. It was only when nothing was left that I realized she was gone.
Maurice, what are you doing here? Why on earth are you sitting in my office in the dark?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were still...
I escaped.
You...
I don't intend to spend any more time in that hospital. If I'm going to be in a dank, disgusting little room, I may as well be here, where I might even get some work done before I die.
Please don't say that.
Why not? It's not pleasant. It makes you think about your own life. The inevitability of your own death.
Yes. All of those things.
Well, no one can protect you from those.
No. No, I suppose not.
We lose. In the end, we lose. The work is never finished, and in the meantime, our bodies wind down, tick slower, sputter out.
Like grandfather clocks.
Well, this has been a pleasant conversation.
Rosalind,
So they really got it, did they?
Yes.
Is the model... is it just beautiful?
Yes.
Well, we were close, weren't we? By God, we were close.
But we lost.
Lost? No, we all won. The world won, didn't it?
But aren't you at all?
Yes, but it's not that they got it first. It really isn't. It's that I didn't see it. I wish I'd been able to see it.
I think you would have. A few more days, even.
So why didn't I get those days? Who decided I shouldn't get those days? Didn't I deserve them? I mean, if I'd only...
Been more careful around the beam.
Collaborated.
Been more open, less wary, less self-protective.
Or more wary, more self-protective.
Been a better scientist.
Been willing to take more risks, make models, go forward without the certainty of proof.
Been friendlier.
Or born at another time.
Or born a man.
But you'll see, the work never ends. Next month, I'm going to go to a conference in Leeds with one of my colleagues from Paris. We're going to drive there, stop off at some Norman churches along the way.
Churches?
I do love the shapes of things, you know. I love them even before they mean something.
But she never went to Leeds. Rosalind was 37 when she died. It was a particularly cold April that year. There was frost on the trees in London. The Alps stayed snow-covered well into June.
No, no, no! I won't have it!
Eulogies about her focused on her single-minded devotion to work, the progress she made in her work, the lasting contributions she made through her work.
Gosling, stop that. I said stop that right now.
I can't. It's what happened.
No. We start over. Come on, everyone. We start over.
You've got to be kidding me. Before we get to what happened next, my God, Wilkins, you won. We won. Your name on the Nobel Prize. Remember that part? This was the finest moment in your life.
No, it wasn't. Rosalind, we start over. Just us this time. Please. You see, I need...
What is it you need, Morris?
There's something I need to tell you. It's important.
Then tell me.
I saw you. The day you went to see The Winter's Tale at the Phoenix.
This is what you needed to tell me?
And I wanted to join you. I got in the queue to buy a ticket.
All right, so what happened?
It's not what happened. It's what could happen. Now.
What are you talking about, Morris?
January 1951. This time I attend the play. And I see you across the theatre. This time we make eye contact. And afterwards, we meet in the back, by the bar. This time, I say, did you enjoy the performance? Gielgud is excellent, don't you think?
Yes, very lifelike, very good.
And the incredible thing is, we're both there, watching him, experiencing the very same thing, together.
It is incredible.
Both watching.
And when Hermione died, even though it was Leonty's fault, I felt for him. I truly did.
Come, poor babe. I have heard, but not believed. The spirits of the dead may walk again. And they do. I love that Hermione wasn't really dead. That she comes back,
No, Morris, she doesn't. Not really.
Of course she does.
No.
Then how do you explain the statue coming to life?
Hope. They all project it. Leontes projects life where there is none, so he can be forgiven.
But don't you think he deserves to be forgiven?
Do I forgive myself?
What? For what?
You know, I think there must come a point in life when you realise you can't begin again, that you've made the decisions you've made, and then you live with them, or you spend your whole life in regret.
And I have spent my whole life in regret.
Well then, perhaps we should have seen the play together. Or gone to lunch.
Would that have changed things?
We'll never know, will we?
You've just heard Photograph 51 by Anna Ziegler, directed by Michael Hackett. Susan Albert Loewenberg, producing director. Starring Miriam Margolyes as Rosalind Franklin, Matthew Arkin as Casper, Maxwell Caulfield as Wilkins, John Matthews as Watson, Darren Richardson as Gosling, and Nick Toren as Krick. Sound designer, recording, and mixing engineer, Mark Holden for the Invisible Studios, West Hollywood. Editor, Wes Dewberry. Live sound effects by Theresa Arrison. And next time on the Relativity Series, the price of being a star athlete can be steep.
5 years of football for 30 years of dementia? That's not a fair trade. I just want guys like us to know their options.
I'm sorry. Did you say guys like us?
Yes, guys like us.
Because I didn't know we were similar.
I'm just trying...
Because only one of us in this room has actually played the game we're talking about, as you can see from my wall.
That doesn't matter.
I think it might.
With respect, you're talking about a game, and I'm talking about life.
And you're acting like those are two different things when they aren't. You played to win the game.
Right, but there are consequences to winning.
How would you know?
An ex-football player refuses to face his growing cognitive decline in Headstrong by Patrick Link. Next time on the Relativity Series. Please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. And make sure to leave us your comments so we know how we're doing. I'm Ron Lipkin. Thanks so much for joining us. The Relativity Series is produced by LA Theater Works at latw.org. Lead funding for the Relativity Series is provided by the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, bridging science and the arts in the modern world.